we actually have an opening here that speaks to the mindsets that we want. And one of the most important ones as it relates to, and this is where Notion as a tool has been so valuable in this operating system, is radical collaboration. And to have a culture in which my workflow isn't just my workflow. My job isn't just to do a set of things that are here. I have a stake in the mission and growth of each of our students. And it's a collaboration to do that. And so the recognizing I have an opportunity to build our capacity well beyond just the tasks that I have in front of me. If I have that mindset of, no, we're actually doing something that is greater than the sum of what each of us are doing. And so we have this kind of baked in here, the kind of the mindsets of design thinking. Actually got this from organization praxis, which is really good. But it is a rooting in to be a stakeholder in the mission is to do it for in any company. It doesn't matter what it is. If I actually recognize myself as not just an employee that is delivering a set of tasks, and I can approach it with kind of an MVP level of like, let me just get the lowest common denominator done, and then I've done my job. No one wants that kind of employee. But to have tools that may actually shape someone to be like, you know what, I can do my job by just making sure I respond to the Slacks and communications and any, collaborations, but keep all of those notes separately without even realizing, oh, wait, these reflections and ideas have the potential to contribute to what the organization or company is doing. We actually need to have a tool and workflow to do that, but we do need to onboard people with understanding what that looks like and why that tool and the values of that tool can meet the values of the mission itself. And this is, and I'll show you this right here. This is a teacher's dashboard. Every teacher has their own dashboard that is more or less set up the same way. And as you can see, like we kind of have some topics and growth goals and kind of pages and projects that each teacher can have that they're working on, that they're sharing with me. So you can see this is a synced block that they will either be shared with myself or with one of the other school leaders. And this is a place to be able to capture and keep track of those things that are individual, but that actually may then need to translate to a collaboration, or in particular with others. And I'll show kind of on the lower below the line there what that looks like. Central to this, I know you and we have talked about the 15-5. It's a method of reporting and communication between leaders and teammates that is meant to take 15 minutes to report and share the work that you're doing, and allows the leader to be able to respond and assimilate that in 5 minutes. I think it was the CEO founder of Patagonia that developed this because he wanted to be climbing mountains and not spend any more time than he needed to. So what we've done here is the 15-5, and I'll go ahead and actually just click on this. Actually, in my button here, this may not have worked. I think I have this demo set up here. So when a teacher creates a 15-5, the idea of this is, and there's instructions that are here in terms of kind of thinking through the process of it. But take some time and figure out, what do I need to report and share, and to be able to go through that process and do that. And so each of these, there's an open communications note. I'll explain in a moment what that has to do with, because that's another part of our radical collaboration. But for each of these, it's share something I'm proud of accomplishing. And so someone can, type in whatever it is, and it will then go to as be a part of their 15-5. So you report on each of those things. And I realize in this template, I don't have it quite set up the way that the teachers are using it. You report on each of these things, and this becomes your report. It's these 4 questions. Um, Something I'm accomplishing, things that I need to accomplish next week. This one is a little bit different in that it actually goes to a task database. Um, um, and Pick a date that I'm going to have it due by. Um, uh, you have these reports that are done. These shared team reports, I think I mentioned to you that our agendas and on that homepage, there are a set of things to report, things to know. Um, a teacher actually completing their 15.5 here will populate those things to know. So if they have a housekeeping item, if they have things to add to the calendar, they don't have to go to that homepage and enter that. They just enter it right here, and then it populates that.
So parts of their 15.5 are private between you and them, but then they also understand, oh, this part is going to be part of the public record.
That's right. Yeah. So these are the private items, and then these are the public items. And then, and as they fill these out, they will see those down here to see this is my report for the week that I've actually communicated. Any tasks that I enter will show up in that next week. Um, and then we have one more item that we do, um, which is we call it the weekly snapshot. Um, each week gives teachers the opportunity to be able to identify who are the students that I'm working with right now who are underengaged. And it may be that they're high flyers and they're bored. It may be that they're distracted because they have other things, but they're not at the level of where they can be. And being able to articulate and say that who it is, so they would enter that right there. And
Is
then
that
also,
is that a form? Is that a Notion form? And are
this is a
you
Notion form. Yeah.
so you're just typing in students' names? You're not connecting to a person property.
They're actually, yes, that's right.
Mhm.
And then the under challenge, so under engaged and under challenged. So basically, it's the under challenged is they are bored. They actually need, and there may be different. It may be that the pace or the activities of a particular class they're not connecting with, but we call it the bell curve report. It's who's at the lower end and the higher end, and how do we attend to that? Typically, schools will tend to focus towards the lower end, and you actually create more kids at the top that are um, um, have the opportunity. Kind of the squeaky wheels are getting the attention, and the other ones aren't. And so, how do we work through that? This report actually goes to um, a coaching dashboard, and so we have a person who basically is looking at um, uh, this on a weekly basis to recognize, hey, are there any patterns? I have here I have an example, kind of a demo student. Um, the teacher has written the note. Um, the coach has been notified. In my case, I've put my name there. If there's another person, and this is where it's really, and this is what gets fun, is that as teachers recognize, hey, there are some students who really resonate with a particular teacher, or a teacher has been able to make an impact. I can notify that teacher when I'm submitting this report, that, hey, by the way, this is someone that you may be able to connect with. And so the level of it's not bound to the course or a kind of set hierarchy or project. Anybody who has the potential to add value to a challenge or problem that anybody has can be notified and connected through that.
So
And so,
this is, if I may, just for a moment,
yeah,
this is such a perfect example of building and operating architecture that expresses your mission and your values. Because in the absence of this, the teacher who has this under challenged student or under engaged student who has this thought that like, oh, this other teacher, I've noticed them talking and I think that might be a good idea, that becomes an email.
yep,
Hey, Christina, you might want to talk to so and so, da da da. And so now Christina, we've just given her a job to do, which is to process that email, find
mhm,
that email, remember who it came from, what student it was about. And so what was intended to be a missional win, which is the taking care of this
Yeah,
student, becomes cognitive burden on Christina times 100,
that's right.
right? Because in the absence of this sort of thing, that's happening 100 times a week or a day. And so to me, like this is a really great example of what it means to operationalize your mission.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you can see here, and I won't click on these because actually some other names will pop up, but we have the ability. So we want our kids to grow personal, academic, and productive, not just academic. And so we have different people who will process and respond and keep track of different levels of what that looks like. So in this case, because in the note, the hypothetical note, the group is struggling to work together on ideation. That's really not an academic issue. That's a personal issue. That's a relational issue. That's a maturity issue on that level. And so being able to recognize and identify, hey, there's some interpersonal things that we can help our kids grow in on this, or is it actually a productive? They're getting sidetracked, and there's an executive functioning piece to it. Like the teacher is getting to be able to respond and give input on that, and it sorts based on that and goes to a different direction. And we have notifications built into this, and so different people are actually being notified based on um, what type of item it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Every
again,
every
going
time
back
I
to
see
what,
you,
go ahead.
sorry, every time I see you talk about this stuff, it just makes me want to work at your school. It's so cool.
We have a lot of fun, and actually, I should go full circle on that whole email thing. We hardly have any internal email. Um, Email really is a tool at our school, and this isn't by directive; it's by function. Email has become a tool at our school that is outward facing because the work that we do collaboratively happens in the context of the spaces that we're on. Um, so this teacher has a note inbox where any of those kinds of notes that I just showed you that would show up on for this coach's dashboard, if there is a note that has my name on it or is related to my course, it will show up here. So I don't need to go to another place to find it. I don't need to go to the home to do this kind of work. It's right here in my place. And once I've responded to it, I can hit that archive, and then I can know that it's done. If I need to notify another teacher of something because it's a response, I can do it right there and they'll get the notification. But so the work that happens, and that's why we call this kind of the communication notes, the work that happens, I get to do it right where I am. Or, and again, if this relates to, and I'll just jump over here to see, if it's in the context of a course, um, I actually have the communications as it relates to my course on my course page. So in the same place that I'm actually doing my lesson plans, the same place that I have my syllabus and my interaction, same place that I have my roster for my course, I'm doing my progress report and grading, all of this is on my course. And again, as it goes back to what you're talking about with design, all of these are just filtered views of databases that are elsewhere. But the work is, and this is one of the things in our many conversations and understanding the capacity of Notion, it's here because it makes sense sometimes for me to do it here. It's also here because sometimes I actually, on a high level, I'm going to go do things that are not related to the course. But having those views in the workspaces where I need to be able to do my work um, lowers the cognitive load and actually helps me not, I don't have to go to a number of different tools in different places to be able to do it. Anything related to my course, I can do it in my course, whether it's my progress report, whether it's interacting with anybody on my roster to do communications or email, um, whether it's looking up, updating my course syllabus, whether it's actually entering my lesson plans or anything here. All of that, as it relates to what are the enduring understandings of my course, all of it is right here.